Hey there, and welcome to episode 63 of Your Fun and Profitable Online Business. This is the podcast that helps you grow your business in a way that feels as good as it looks. I'm Wendy, a certified money coach and online business strategist, and I help women entrepreneurs create fun and profitable online businesses using simple systems and intentional decisions. And today we're getting really practical, because over the last couple episodes, we've been talking about joy in your business. What it is, why it works, and what it's actually doing behind the scenes. Now we're at the point where you might be thinking, okay, I get it, but how do I actually add more joy to my business? So today we're answering that question. All right, let's get to it. Now, before we get deep in the how, I want to talk about something really important, because this is where people can get stuck. They hear this idea of bringing more joy in the business, and their brain immediately tells them they don't have time for that. Or they plan for it once things calm down, or they get through this season, or they get over this next big hurdle. And I get it, because when your business feels full or even messy, it can feel almost irresponsible to plan for something enjoyable, like you should be using that time to be productive. But here's the shift I want to offer. You're not trying to create a completely different life here. You're just learning how to shift your state inside the life and business you already have. Because like we talked about in the last episode, joy is a state, which means it's something you can access in small ways. Not all day, not perfectly even, but consistently enough to change how your life and business feel and how they function. Because when you don't intentionally shift your state, it's easy to go in that default forced business mode we've talked about, which is where things can feel heavy, complicated, slow, or even frustrating. So this isn't about adding something extra. It's about making what you're already doing work better. Now, I'm going to walk you through a 6-step framework you can start using this week. Keep in mind, this isn't about big dramatic changes. It's about small, repeatable shifts that actually stick. Step 1, identify your joy sources. Now, this is not what should bring you joy. This is what actually brings you joy. I've watched clients overthink this or try to come up with something impressive or something that sounds productive. I want to say this out loud. Your version of joy doesn't have to make sense to anyone else on this planet. Only you know what brings you joy. If it helps you feel lighter, that's enough. For me, it's being outside, nature, movement, fresh air. All of it is my reset. It isn't always a hike in the woods. Well, I do love a good hike, but sometimes it's just standing outside for a few minutes, or walking around the yard and looking at what's blooming in my garden, or even just sitting under the gazebo with my husband. For you, it might be something around music, or a quiet space, or connecting with someone, or moving your body, or changing your view, or lighting a candle, or just stepping away from electronics for a few minutes. I'm guessing you probably already know what it is for you, but if not, spend some effort trying new things this week to see what brings you genuine joy. Step 2, shrink it. Sometimes we think our version of joy needs to be perfect, and then we don't do anything. So we're going to shrink it into a micro joy. These are typically 5 to 10 minutes. They're simple, accessible, and repeatable. Here are a few ideas. Texting a friend that you're thinking of them, standing up and stretching, putting on a song you love, or just making a cup of warm tea. Now, the goal here isn't to escape. It's just to find a small pocket of joy somewhere in your day. Step 3, use it as a reset. Now, we're not adding joy randomly here. We're using it strategically. We're not waiting for exhaustion to set in. I want you to start noticing when you're getting into that forced state. And I want to slow this down for a second, because this moment is easy to miss. Imagine with me that you're sitting at your computer. You've edited something 3 times. You've opened another tab in your browser, and you're trying to figure something out. And you can start to feel that subtle frustration building. That's the moment. Not when you're completely burnt out. Not when you're done for the day, but right there where that frustration sits. That's where this work actually happens. It's your sign not to push harder, but to make a shift. And when you do this, you come back different. It's the same task. You're just in a different state. And suddenly things feel clearer. You make decisions faster and you move forward. That's the power of this. Step 4, attach it to your day. Now, I say this often, if you don't plan for it, it won't happen. So instead of thinking you'll do this when you have time, I want you to decide right now when it'll happen. It could be at the start of the day, midday for a break, after a call, or when you're sitting at your computer in that frustrations place. This is where it becomes a system, not something you hope you'll remember, but it's something that's built and baked into your day. Step 5, lower the bar, lower it a lot. This is really important because if this feels like one more thing you have to manage, you're not going to do it. We both know that. So we're aiming for something that helps a little and makes you feel slightly better afterwards. Why? Because those small shifts compound. Step 6, pay attention to what works. This is where you start really learning yourself. You start noticing what brings your energy back and what makes you think better. And it becomes something you can put into your personal joy toolkit, not some generic advice, but something that works for you personally. Now, if you've tried this before and it didn't stick, it's usually because of one of these 2 reasons. Number 1, you wait until you're already exhausted to try it. Or number 2, you treat joy like a reward, like whenever everything's checked off your list and done. But imagine this version of your business. You're not waiting until things feel overwhelming to take a break. You're not forcing every decision. You're creating a space for ideas to come to you. You're moving through your work with energy, more ease. And here's what's really interesting. You're not doing less. You're just doing it differently. No dragging yourself through your day, no avoiding decisions. You're in motion. You try things, you adjust faster, and that changes everything. All right, I want to get to your action step for this week. I want you to pick one micro joy activity, just one, and decide when and where you'll do it and when you'll use it as a reset. And then use it intentionally. Now, this is not just when you feel like it, but when you notice yourself slipping into that forced state, because that's where it matters most. All right, today we talked about how joy doesn't have to be big or time-consuming. It just has to be intentional, because small shifts in your state change how you think, how you act, and how you show up, and that's how your business moves forward. Now, if you're thinking this sounds great, but you're wondering about those times where you don't feel like it at all, rest assured, that's what we're talking about next episode. And if you want a place to practice this, CEO Hour is a perfect place to do it. It's my weekly co-working session where you can bring one small step and take it in a simple space with other business owners. It's free and everyone's invited. Find out more at wendymuzzy.com/CEO. All right, until next time, happy building your business with a little more joy.